Hey guys, how you doing? This is Andy Huang. 大家好，我是黄家贤. I have been asked by a lot of friends to give a non-biased review on the Maserati Levante. Obviously, they're saying that, listen, we know you, since no one is paying for your review, so we know you're very non-biased. Alright, so as you can see, this is a Levante, okay, a Maserati Levante. Alright, so the reason why I'm outside of the car is because normally I do this with the camera facing my face, but as it turned out, once you start recording on the iPhones, you can't flip the camera back and forth. So, and then the reason why I wanted to show you a couple of features on the car that I really like. So first things first, okay, so a lot of people have this, but it's just something that I really like. This is called a kickstand, okay, so it has a sensor. Alright, so once you do this kickstand, and then the car opens. So this is really like the hands-free version. Alright, so you kick it again. So suppose you're out holding grocery bags, you know, again, no big deal. A lot of people have this. Okay, next thing you know is the remote auto start. Okay, so this is the Maserati key fob. So you press this twice. Okay, and the car remotely auto start. So this is a regular sound. You can hear the engine sound. Okay. The reason why I said regular engine sound, I'll show you. And obviously here the door is still locked, so don't worry, no one can get in without your key. So you touch it, and then the key fob will start up there. Alright, so I apologize, let me turn it off. Okay, so here, before you do anything, notice that the screen is very dark. You can't really see anything. It's because this here, you remotely started it. So before you do anything, you have to press this. Okay? What I also love about this is when you get out, you will have the feature of pressing the, you know, like this, and then you have the comfort of getting out of the car. And then when you get in, you'll be able to do this and adjust automatically. Alright? So the reason why I showed you guys the regular sound like before, remember the regular engine sound? Okay, this is on the regular mode. Okay, you can see, pay attention to this. You're at the optimal height, they call it, the driving condition. Okay, so let's bring it to about 3,000 RPMs, right? So here, you press the sports mode, and then you notice that the upper right hand corner, it lowers your car, puts in sports mode, and also lowers your car. See it? It lowers to that notch, your car actually lowers itself. And then the same thing, let's bring it to 3,000 RPM. Alright, so again, now you see it, it's totally different sound. And then I gotta tell you, it's different feeling altogether. Okay, the reason why I wanted to show you this is because, again, a lot of my friends are saying that, hey, listen, you have been driving the GLS, you have been driving the Maserati now for full 2 months now. Give us a little feedback. So again, this thing, everything is done electronically. So anything you want, you press the button here. Obviously, this is on and off. I always have it off. And then all the settings are touch screen. You'll be able to go into different settings. Okay, display, unit, voice, so you go in there, everything is touchscreen, so it's very easy for you to change, okay, to adjust to the settings if you want. And then there's another really cool feature is the suspension, where you have the auto entry and exit suspension. Once you put it on, the car lowers itself to the lowest point. Here, you'll be able to do it manually as well. This here, okay, you press this, again, pay attention to the upper right. You're lowering your car actually, right? You see it. Pay attention to the curb and then the hood of your car. You'll feel it. See how the car is lowering itself? Alright, so this is the lowest point, okay? And then again, you'll be able to bring it higher as well. It's here. Again, pay attention to the hood and then the curb, the little grassy area in front of the car. You'll see it. So the car is now raising itself. And then you could do that. You could actually lift this off. The ground clearance is 8.5 inches. Okay, so it's a much higher position right now. Again, now when you open the seat, now you see it. When you open the door, you really have to give it like a little hop to hop out. Okay, so, and then when you have the other position I was telling you about, it's then when you get in and out of the cars. The car knows what you're trying to do. It lowers to a lower position, so it's easier for you to get in and out of the car, especially, you know, for ladies with you know, with a skirt. Okay, so now with that said, these are the performance aspect of the car. Let's talk about a little bit about the financial side. As most of you understand, the getting a Mercedes is not as expensive as you thought, but can be. I'll explain to you why. Okay, so with the GL, I started with a 2007. I was fortunate enough to have the program that Mercedes-Benz has, is that if you take out a 3-year lease, every 2.5 years or so, they will contact you saying that, hey, listen, your lease is up in about 6 months or so. Would you like to, you know, bring your car back in? We'll give you a new one, basically. All right, so I was fortunate enough to be part of that program. So now I had 2007, so I swap it out to a new one in 2009. I swap out again to a new one in 2011, 13, 15, and 17. Okay, so 5 generations later, they actually redesigned their model. So that's the reason why from the 2017, I didn't swap out in 2019. That's the longest driven lease ever. I've never driven out a full 36 months of a lease except that one, because I knew, reading Car and Drive It, I knew they're redesigning to a 2020 version. Okay, so if you want to look what a car actually looks like, you could Google it, or you could go to your closest Mercedes dealer. If you live in the Bayside area, go to Helms Brothers. If you live in the Nassau County, you could go to the Raleigh, and then they'll be able to have the car actually on the floor. I'm not sure if the 2020 GLS 450 is out yet, so if you just want to get a feeling of what the car looks like, take a look of the GLE. Okay, which is the old ML. Look at the GLE 350, you'll see it. The car looks just like that, except obviously the GLE has 2 rows and the GLS has the extra 3rd row in the back. Okay, so with that said, I was, you know, I called my friend Jason at Helms Brothers, and then Jason said, I'm sorry, the 2020 is not out. We have to put in an order for it. And I said, well, you know, I'm the type of person, if I look at something, if I like what I see, I'm a very spontaneous person that way. So as it turned out, because they didn't have the 2020 in stock, so I was driving around and I saw a Maserati dealership. I said, you know what, what's this hype about everyone switching to Maserati, especially within the song Old Town Road? So there's one part that you know, he was saying that driving down the road with a Maserati sports car. So I'm like, you know what, let me just go in Maserati and just take a look, you know, just to see how it is, just maybe take a test drive. So then, shortly enough, I went in there, spoke with Joseph Park, the sales manager at Gold Coast Maserati in Great Neck. So then I said, I'm here, I would like to take a test drive. He goes, all right. So then I test drove it, and then I came back and I told him my situation. My lease was basically up in about 2 weeks or so because the 2020 is not out. So it looks like I'm to go month to month for about 2 months. So he looked at me, he goes, if I get you a good deal on a Maserati today, would you be able to take the car today? Mind you, that was the last date of May, so I don't know if he was working on a quota or something, but anyway, I was okay with it. I was happy. So he gave me a deal, and I found out, and I said, okay, let's do it. So and then the rest is history. So after driving 12 years of GLS, well, GL then to GLS, now 12 years later, I'm in a Maserati Levante. All right, so I'm sorry for that long-winded introduction of how I got into a Maserati. So now let's talk about all the juicy stuff. Okay, so as you saw from the performance aspect, the technical aspect of the Maserati Levante, it's amazing. You get that exhilarating feeling when you step on the gas. You know, you really get that pullback feeling when you slam, well, not slam, when you floor the gas. You really get pulling back like you're in a roller coaster ride. So the feeling, the driving, it's amazing. Okay, so I would have to say what I miss the most about, you know, switching from GLS to a Maserati Levante is the GLS. Obviously, it's a much larger car. When I mean large, is I'm not talking about the overall length. Surprisingly, the overall length of the Maserati Levante and then the Mercedes GLS 450 is only 5 inches different. Okay, so you know, with that 5 inches, you really 5 inches is no big deal, but you have to understand the Maserati again. Let's show it. Okay, so here the ratio of the Maserati hood as compared to the car, it's different. See how long the hood of the car is, right? Because of the engine. Okay, the engine, because of the way the engine is laid out, so it's much longer. And see how the back, it just cut right off here. It give you the feeling, it looks almost like the FX, the Infiniti FX. So that gives you an idea. And that's why even at 197 inches, the overall length of the Maserati Levante is 197. Mercedes 202, so really is a 5-inch difference. However, the interior space is completely different, especially the storage. You could lower the third row seat of your Mercedes into a larger, larger area where you could put a lot of stuff in there, especially go on a trip, so on and so forth. So you still have the first row and the second row, but the back you have much more room for your luggage and so on and so forth. You don't have that with the Levante. Okay, so that's definitely something to be concerned about if you are thinking about switching the car. Absolutely, you want to think about why you're switching out. Are you switching out for the comfort ride, for this, that, and everything else? I'll give you, based on the 2 months that I've been driving, you do not get into a Maserati based on the interior space. You want to have more rooms. You do not switch into a Maserati because you're concerned about gas. If the MPH, mile per gallon, gasoline is very important to you, I highly encourage you, do not switch, because the average monthly bill on gas for for the GL is roughly around 300 a month. This is everyday driving, more or less 80 to 100 miles a day, because I'm a realtor, I'm a real estate broker by profession, so I do a lot of driving. So if you do as much as I do, roughly about 80 to 100 miles a day, then you're paying about roughly 300. Okay, do the same thing everyday driving, the Maserati will cost you over $400. So, and then that equals out to be more than $1,200 different on annually, just on gas, not on anything else. Your insurance will go up too, because the car's on a different class tier. So a lot of things you have to think about. Again, the reason why a lot of people say, oh, so why did you get into a Maserati? I think it's time, after driving more than a decade of the same car, and I think, I wanted to understand what other people are talking about when it comes to Maserati, because let's all face it, we all understand Ferrari makes Maserati, so it's definitely something that it's Ferrari on its own. That name, Maserati and Ferrari, carry their own legendary names. So I would say, if you have never driven one, find a friend who does have one and then just drive it at least once, and you'll understand. All right, again, you have my contact info. Reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to let you sit in one and you drive my car or whatever. Okay, so let's talk about the financial aspect of the two cars. Okay, when you're talking about leasing a Mercedes, again, we talked about before, you're roughly paying about $6,600 down payment, and then on a 36 months lease, your monthly payment will roughly be around $1,000. The reason why I say roughly is because depending on the option you put into the car. The major difference between a Mercedes and Maserati is Mercedes, it's an option car, which means you can load up the car with anything your heart desires. For example, my GLS, I have the MSRP of $66,000, but I load that car with $22,000 worth of options. So that car ended up to be $89,000 before taxes. Okay, so factor that in with Maserati, that puts the two cars in the same category. Okay, so again, for the past 12 years with the Mercedes, we go down that mathematics, $6,600 down payment, your monthly payment is about $1,000. Now on the Maserati, even though the monthly payment is the same, around $1,000, the down payment is $14,000. So you're paying almost twice as much as you're paying with the the Mercedes. So again, I got a good deal with my friend Joseph Park at Gold Coast. So he knocked off like $3,000. So I ended up paying $11,000 of down payment. And then the monthly payment is the same, about a grand. Okay, I do encourage you. I'm the type of person, if I buy things, I always consider the options. I know a lot of people never take the tire wheel protection options. I know people never take the prepaid maintenance package. I agree with you. if you drive very carefully, you don't need the tire and rim protection. If you service the car, you don't need. So I would like to encourage you. Yes, for the Mercedes, I took them anyway. Okay, understand, driving a Mercedes, you know the service comes with once a year or 10,000 miles. It's a service called Service A, Service B, and Service C. In reality, there is really no Service C, so they just do the A, the B, and then the A. Okay, with that said, your package A, depending on where you service your car at, it would be roughly around, let's see, about 400 to 500, again depending on what state. Okay, New York, depending on where it is. In Queens, Helms Brothers service are around like 4.25. At Raleigh, they service around 495. So it's not a big deal, right? So 500. So you figure do one at 500. The next one, B service, will cost you maybe 150 more. So okay, no big deal. A is 500, B is 650. Another A, it's 500. Okay. So you figure, okay, with 1,600, the package, they sell it at $999. So you're saving about a couple of $100, right? So you can take it, you don't want to take it, that's fine. I agree with you. However, with a Maserati, I highly recommend you to take the option, because the first service you're ever gonna get, okay, same 3-year lease, 10,000 miles for service. The first one runs you about $600. So you figure, why am I paying something that's only $600? The package is $1,995, $2,000 package. You're like, okay, if it's $600, 3 times 6 is $1,900. I'm paying more. No, actually, the first service is $600. The second service is $1,400, and the third service is $2,700. Okay, I don't know what they do with the service. One is $600, and it's $1,400 and $2,700. So now in 3-year worth, your maintenance will cost you $5,000. Of course, then you want to buy the $2,000 package to save the $3,000, right? So I highly encourage you to do that. The other bells and whistles, it's up to you. You want to get it, you can get it. You don't want to get it, you don't have to get it. But I highly recommend you to get that. Okay, so here we are. I know it's been 16 minutes. I know it's not too exciting looking at the dash of my car, but I'm sorry, simply because when I started recording, I can't, I just can't flip the camera back and forth. I was gonna do the interior. You know what? I still can't. So I still give you an idea of the car. Okay, so here is the brain, or not the brain, the main control of your cockpit. All right, so here I have the panorama roof. So you'll be able to open up. The good thing about this is a much wider panorama than the Mercedes, because you look, it opens up to the same width as the Mercedes, right? Now you'd be surprised, you could open up one more, right? So that you definitely don't have it on the Mercedes GLS 450. Okay, this is the panorama roof, right? So this is one aspect, and everything else, the power and all that stuff is the same. Okay, and then here we went over the touch screen and everything, and then I'll show you the engine. Okay, so that way at least Alright, so before we cut off at 18 minutes, I'll just show you the engine. The reason why Maserati is the hood, it's so much longer than any car that you have ever seen. Alright. This is why, okay, because the way the engine is laid out. Okay, from this angle, now you see why. And you can just actually see it, it's a much longer, okay, it's a turbo engine. You have the intake here, okay, and then you have, obviously the nozzle on the side and everything. Alright, so this is why. Again, this is my very first review. I've been asked by a lot of friends. If you ever need anything, please leave a comment, or drop a like, and then follow me, and just let me know what you want to see, what you want me to review, or you want me to, any other aspect you want me to go into. I have to actually drive in this car and do a recording that way. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace out, everyone.